Good evening and welcome to this edition of the Island Stat Sports Show. I'm your host, Earl Basin, and joining me is co-host Jason Juglin J. Ford. We are welcoming the president of CANOC and also the Trinidad and Tobago Olympic Committee president, Mr. Brian Lewis. First of all, gentlemen, both of you, Happy New Year. First time that we've hosted this show in 2022. And we want to start off with a conversation about some upcoming major events, Mr. Lewis, that obviously your organization in CANOC, as well as the Trinidad Olympic Committee, would be looking at with interest. We have the inaugural Caribbean Games set to take place in July. But I wanted to talk to you regarding some of the things that are going on in Guadeloupe as it stands today. There's a lot of civil unrest going on. How much information are you guys getting as far as CANOC in ensuring that the plans are still going ahead for preparation for the first Caribbean Games?
Well, the Games is at this point still scheduled, very much on schedule. Hey, first of all, best wishes for 2022 to all of you and to all your viewers and all of Bermuda. I have some good friends in Bermuda, Judy Simmons, etc. Keturah. So, well, out of the way. Yeah, the Games is scheduled for the 29th of June to the 3rd of July. And I just, I like to be very open and honest, right? I vaguely saw something about unrest in Guadeloupe. Now you have said it. I wasn't aware of that. Now that might sound weird coming from the president of CANOC in the context of the Caribbean Game, but there's an excellent team down there led by Julian and the local organizing committee. So, I get regular updates, and that hasn't been flagged. I think the thing that has been flagged more often than not is the COVID-19 situation and the fact that Guadeloupe is very much controlled. They may not want to hear that because that might be part of the civil arrest that you talk about.
Yeah.
By France. Yeah.
Right.
So, so it's not that I'm dismissing it. 29th of June. Let's just wait. If you still have civil unrest by the 29th of June, then we have a problem.
Right.
And what I've found over the years is that in the build-up to all of these big events where you have numerous countries coming, it's never a simple thing. Life just doesn't work that way. Along with all the people that may be coming in, the volunteers, the teams that come to our games and move into a city when the games is taking place. Murphy also makes sure he has his own tent.
Yes.
Setup, and his own team. And you just have to deal with Murphy. There are some things you have to deal with as they occur. There are some things you can scenario plan for. But I'm always seeing that the glass is not half empty. And as I said, in my time around the block, I've seen so many. I'm not saying you are a doomsayer. Don't get me wrong. Right. I'm saying that there's always, especially by the Eurocentric bias media, especially when non-European countries are holding events. Remember Rio, Beijing. Once it's not in Europe, the games comes in for a lot of flack.
Yes.
Tokyo, down to the 2 hours before the opening ceremony in Tokyo, there were those who were still saying the games would be canceled.
Right.
So you have to put it in perspective. And then additional to that, I must say that I've been enormously distracted the last couple of days by the tragic death of three-time Olympian, 29-year-old Dion Lendo in a car crash in the States. So that has kind of disrupted our equilibrium here in Trinidad and Tobago, and certainly in the Trinidad and Tobago Olympic and Commonwealth sport movement. But just today, I was talking to the president of the Pan Am Sports, Nevin Illick, and we were talking about the Caribbean Games. And I was reaffirming rather robustly our commitment to hold the games and our request for some support from Pan Am Sports and some financial support. So I say that to say that we are we meaning at for sure the level of the executive committee of the Caribbean Association of National Olympic Committee, we are very determined and focused in working with Guadeloupe in surmounting all and any obstacles to ensure that at the 29th of June, there is an opening ceremony. Of course, in the COVID-19 era, the only thing that's certain is uncertainty. By then, they may have a Marvel variant out that combines Superman and all the Marvel characters, and then it's a whole different ballgame. So we have to recognize that that's the reality of COVID.
A quick question. Is there any concern, because right behind the Caribbean Games, we have the Commonwealth Games. They're right on the heels. Any concern about...
Right behind or right in front?
Well, Caribbean's June to July, and Commonwealth is July to
Caribbean's
August.
29th of June to the 3rd of July.
And then Commonwealth is right behind that. They finish the 8th of August. It's July, is it July?
It's the 28th of July to the 8th of August.
Right. So is there any concern about the closeness of major events for athletes qualifying and then competing?
Well, again, not being lighthearted, right?
Yeah.
I think the Commonwealth Games have a problem and a challenge.
Yes.
Because right before them, the 15th to the 24th of July is the World Track and Field Championship.
Yes, right, yes. Yeah.
So, how many, what's the impact that's going to have on the Birmingham Games? It starts on the 28th of July. You have been, you know acutely in the sport environment. So you know what's going to happen after World Track and Field Championships. You're going to have all the diamond leagues lining up, all the different meets in Europe. Big money is going to be on offer, as you know,
yes.
For all those who have done well. So I think that the Commonwealth Games has a challenge. The Caribbean Games, you have to remember, this year, at least for sure, it's for under 23 athletes.
Yes.
And I use athletes in the generic. And it's only 7 sports.
Yes.
You have footstyle, 3x3 basketball, netball, you have judo, you have track and field, swimming, road cycling. So I will be very disappointed if the National Olympic Committees of CANOC that are going to the Commonwealth Game, because remember, not everybody from CANOC going to the Commonwealth Games. You have people like Cuba, Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic, for example, Haiti, that aren't part of the Commonwealth Game. So I'll be extremely disappointed if National Olympic Committees use the Commonwealth Games as an excuse to deny their under 23 athletes the opportunity to participate in a game that is for us, as we say in the Caribbean. It's our games.
Right.
So, you know,
Mm.
I know usually as Caribbean people, we have self contempt for a lot of the things that are Caribbean. We always, the colonials, and always better. I think maybe we were beaten, and some of us, our ancestors, those who went before us may have been beaten down by colonialism and slavery. And still, even though they have been emancipated physically, as the great Bob Marley says,
Mm.
some, you know, mental and emotional slavery. So I say all that to say that there is absolutely no reason, legitimate reason, why the National Olympic Committees in Kano will not support their game. It's not the executive game, it's
Mhm.
not Barbados game.
Yeah.
It is our we games.
Yeah.
It's a Caribbean game.
Mm.
And therefore, you know, the games that had such a difficult history as it stands. I mean, my own country, Trinidad and Tobago, as life will have it. 2009, a few weeks before the games was due to open, the then government of the day used the H1N1 virus.
Right.
And how far, it's fascinating to me how far we have come from that 12 years ago.
Mm.
Now people having events in the face of a very disruptive and murderous virus that have killed millions of people. So human nature is something else. As I said, I think we all have to be committed to hosting the games, the Caribbean Games, that is, and I will be very interested to see. I'm not saying it. I'm saying it unapologetically. Those who snub the Caribbean Games and then turn up in the motherland to support the motherland game.
Mm. Jay?
President, welcome. You mentioned the COVID-19 era. Obviously, with these games back to back, there's got to be a financial burden on some of these committees looking to get sponsorship, especially to hold these games. Can you speak on some of the challenges trying to garner sponsorship in the COVID-19 era where money has been tight?
It's a challenge economically and financially. That's a reality. Um, but I hold fast to the belief that leaders were elected to lead. They were elected to solve problems, not redefine problems and create problems. Although we know that a lot of sport leaders come under legitimate criticism for creating more problems than the solution. But that having been said, you know, Jason, well, how I look at this, right? We have COVID, it's murderous, we acknowledge that. Um, but with all the challenges you have, economically, financially, socially, public health wise, when you go out, commerce is taking place, life is taking place. And I always wonder, you have people who are, I'm not saying you all are doing this, I'm just saying in general, that the sky is falling. And I've always wondered, how do we determine why the sky is falling on some people and not all the people? What differentiates those for whom the sky is falling and they're preparing for the sky falling, and those who are who living and preparing for the sky rising rather than falling? For me, it's not airy fairy. It's a mindset, it's an attitude, and a choice. I don't know of any endeavor, human endeavor, whether it be Mount Everest, whether it be the 4 minute mile, that human beings who make up their mind that they must do something won't do it. You know, an example I use all the time, because all of us travel, right? And I'm always amazed every time that here we all comfortable, happy, sleeping, eating, talking and joking, 36,000 feet in the air in an aluminum tube that was created by two brothers who people told their father that they're so sorry for them that they have produced too much children. They defied what was the perceived wisdom at the time. I'm saying that to say that anything that mankind wants to do, whether it be going to the moon, whether creating a nuclear war, genocide, anything, good, bad, indifferent across the spectrum, they're either a person or a group of persons. Today we have Facebook, we have Google, we have things that people said was unimaginable.
Yeah.
And I can never understand why we as Caribbean people seem to thrive on the word can't.
But tell me something, President. So personally for you and your association, obviously just going through the Olympics last year, what are some of the things that you personally learned administration wise, how what you could do better going into the next games? Because obviously you're learning something from every competition you go to, especially with this COVID, because it's so fluid. Just when you think you might have a grasp on something, it's the goalposts change, and you recalibrate and you go forward. What are some of the things that you've learned from the Beijing Games, personally?
Beijing, Tokyo, which one?
Tokyo. Sorry, Tokyo.
Tokyo, right. One of the things I learned for sure is the power of money. Because if money wasn't such an important element, the game would have been cancelled.
We said that.
Um, and that's what I was saying. When people want to do things, they can do it. That is an important lesson, good, bad, or indifferent, whatever your philosophy in life, you should pay attention to. There's absolutely no way, even both of you would have even thought and contemplated that an event such as the Olympic Games could have taken place in the middle
Mhm.
at that time of a Delta surge, right? So that was one. This was saying impossible is nothing. Second one is, you got a stark reminder that you mustn't listen to the naysayers because there was this environment of negativity that we all started buying into. And therefore, we fell into the trap of not thinking innovatively, creatively, and figuring out how we can do better for our athletes, help them prepare better, get resources to them, support them in a more tangible way. We basically, because we were so consumed by the naysayers and the negativity, and not that I am dismissing the reality of COVID, right? That we essentially left our athletes asunder. So that was another important lesson for me. That you have to back yourself. You know, as NOCs, you should have stood up and said, we are going to the Olympic Games, and then we have to find a way to support our athletes. And there's a lesson for you in Bermuda, but I don't know what is the politics inside of Bermuda, but that gold medal you won, I think it should serve as a very important lesson.
I definitely agree.
Yeah. We're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we'll have more with the president of CANOC and the Trinidad and Tobago Olympic Committee, Brian Lewis. We'll be right back.
We're featuring a true frequent flyer this month, Bragg Live Food Products. Paul Bragg was the man behind the products, and during his lifetime originated health food stores and promoted nutrition education throughout the media, helping us make healthful choices when we shop for and prepare food. Best known for his live cider vinegar, Bragg also brings us a variety of super nutritious and flavorful foods and condiments. Try the star product that helped launch the entire enterprise, Bragg Raw Unfiltered Apple Cider Vinegar. Lindo's, why go anyplace else?
My inspiration to write this book has to do with empowering. I want people to understand what it looks like when you are in a position when you don't have the tools around you. If you know me or don't know me, the game, the beautiful game of football, soccer, is and always was a way out. Still fearful on what to do, what would happen if I say something.
What can we do in this book to incorporate tools to help specifically our group of young people in Bermuda?
Could you imagine doing a read with little people and breaking everything down for them and having them to have a voice and having conversation pieces, if it's chapter by chapter?
Welcome back. Mr. President, we just recently concluded the inaugural Junior Pan Am Games in Cali, Colombia. How do you think those games will assist, especially the regional young people, as a stepping stone to more regional or the fourth major festivals?
You know Argentina had sprinters.
Well, we found that out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Across the board, a lot of those youngsters don't ordinarily get that opportunity because so much of the senior focus is on the big games. And so if you're not Carifta, if you're a late developer, you're going to fall between the cracks.
Mm-hmm.
The Junior Pan Am Games, as I said, and I'm glad that you acknowledge it, because that was a talking point around breakfast in the Intercontinental.
Yeah.
Hey, you saw what happened last night? Yesterday? Argentina? What? And there's the different sports, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even some of the Caribbean countries, as you know, they had, say, why? Give them the opportunity. And, you know, I was looking at the promo there and the guy talking, helping the future and all these little points. And I have to be honest, you know, I've heard people talk like that so much times, I often wonder if they really mean what they say. Maybe they're just saying it for it needs to be said. But there's a difference between saying something because it needs to be said. So my question I always ask people, even myself. So you're talking about Black Lives Matter and Rule 51 and Free Vince Matthews and Wayne Collette and you know that the IOC has a racist history,
Mhm.
Avery Brundage. But then I asked myself, yeah, right, you're talking that way for ego to say, hey, look me, or to make a difference and to make change. And that's why I found the junior panel, because I know as a fact from the corridors and the bathrooms and everything that there were a number of people who had a concern about the junior panel game and the insistence of President Nebenelli that the game must bowl 16 exclamation mark
Mm.
must come on. And you remember both of you just now assume that you're following this thing too, right?
Yes, yes.
um, it kept being pushed back and then it came up and then so it was like almost like they were trying to run away from COVID, but COVID kept catching up. Eventually they had to have it. And then they took that decision of the first. So while the IOC, International Olympic Committee, Thomas Bach, said, played with words. We're not making vaccination mandatory. We're encouraging it.
Mm.
Panam says, don't get vaccine, don't come. You know, we had youngsters throughout. I saw youngsters, the joy on their faces, even though, whatever. But you saw the joy that they got the opportunity. And you acknowledge and you realize that some of them know in their hearts. They may never get the chance again to march out, to experience that multi-sport environment and experience. And for some of them, it will be a high point in their sporting career and they look back. And they say, boy, I went to the Junior Pan Am Games in Cali in March. What year was that again? The year with COVID now. 2021. Yeah. And somebody said, whatever happened to that games though? But when COVID went, everything went back and they forget about,
Mm.
But because the game still, even though it still costs a couple million, but it was a great joy for me seeing Argentina getting a chance in the sprints, man.
Yes.
You guys know that ain't happening. That ain't happening
But to
under
see
normal
it,
circumstances, right?
yeah.
I mean,
But to see it,
if USA and what does that say? I want to get into the politics, everything.
right.
The big guns who figured, well, right?
Right.
Because there was a problem, for example, with track and field because of where it was at the universities, right?
Yes.
So, it's going to be real tough, man. I mean, I saw countries like Ecuador and,
Mm-hmm.
I was on the technical commission, right? So one of these, I was assigned to, for the first, I was assigned to skateboarding. So
Right.
that was the one they won. That was fascinating, you know what I mean? Seeing these youngsters. Skateboarding, that's the one where they do all kind of flip and skate.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And then after that, I was reassigned to weightlifting.
Mm.
And man, listen, it has some real strong, talented youngsters.
I watched it.
Yeah, man. In Colombia and Ecuador, is that some girls? Listen,
Yeah.
strong, man. Strong, you know what I mean? And let me tell you, what I really enjoyed about some of the events was that the stereotype. So, for example, weightlifting.
Yes.
If you said you went, right? They were, I mean, it's young people, so I want to be careful. What I'm saying is, it wasn't an automatic challenge to traditional heteronormative vision and image of female and femininity, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it was great to see, you know. So I don't know if it means that there's a new approach to sports like weightlifting, but it's refreshing.
Yes.
And you know, I went archery.
Right.
You know, it wasn't no nerdy set of you saw colored hair and all kinds of different things that challenges the stereotype. And why I'm saying that, I'm saying it to say this, that I think part of the reason why in a number of Caribbean countries in particular, we are losing participation at a very fast rate. It's because too much old people running the thing. But nothing wrong with being old.
Right.
But you can't want to run 2021 sports with 1948 vision. Right? And again, I paid attention to that, you know. Earl, you was really at this event?
Yes.
Jason wasn't there?
No.
You went to the medal ceremonies?
I was there for the track and field ones.
Well, let me tell you something. My concept of police officers change because even in terms of the police officers, male and female in the medal ceremonies, they were fit looking. They could have fit for athletes. So what I'm saying is that you may say, well, we're going with all that, but I keep telling people, you have to make sporting events, sporting participation to suit your target audience. You have to put on a show and a presentation that entices and captures the imagination of youth and young people. And that is one of the things I learned. Coming back to the question, I don't forget questions. I may go all over the place, but I'll come back to it. I learned the importance of that, you know, man. I think at the end, notwithstanding the challenges, I think Cali ticks some boxes that I think other events can tick, you know. I mean, now maybe it's like all Caribbean people, you know, countries like Colombia, they don't think like Europeans, you know. Right. Like one day in the weightlifting thing, in between the little break, you know, the Colombian music and they dance, right?
Yes.
I hear something well, I couldn't understand. They were saying it in Spanish. Next thing, I see all these young people coming, and they had a dance off. What is it, salsa? What
Salsa, yeah.
Salsa. Real salsa dance, you know.
But they done that at the Pan Am Games.
Hold on. Here the kicker in this, right? All the people who came down were athletes. So if you had 6, it was some of the medalists and stuff, and it was, you know, it see them drop there. I mean, it was just, I enjoyed it. That's the lesson. I think the Junior Pan Am Games is here to stay.
Yes.
And I really wish the Caribbean Games could have that same type of oomph.
Yes, impact. Yes, definitely. Well, Mr. President, I want to thank you very much for your time. We do have another guest coming on. We look forward to having another chat with you. A rather interesting chat because we know where we're heading as far as athletes in difference. I'll put it like that. With transgender and all of this coming up, what is the discussion around Kennock and the Olympic committees on how to deal with this, because there's going to be an issue down the road if we've already seen issues, but how do we plan to address that? But I want to have that conversation. That's a long conversation that we need to have.
What is that, transgender and stuff?
Yes, athletes that changing.
You don't say LGBTQ athletes, transgender athletes, and all the athletes that challenge the heteronormative
Yes.
construct of male and female. Yeah, I think it's a necessary conversation in the homophobic Caribbean.
Sure.
You know, many of the Caribbean countries are on the list of countries that still have homosexuality criminalized.
Yes.
So anyway.
Definitely. Thank you very, very much. And we look forward to speaking with you again, very, very soon. And again, condolences to Trinidad on the loss of the Olympian.
And Tobago.
Tobago, yes, and Tobago. Trinidad and Tobago.
Thank you very much.
Yes. All right. We're going to take a commercial break, and when we return, we'll be joined by the coaches of the women's national team who have upcoming World Cup qualifiers. We'll be right back.
Our old friends Arrowhead Mills was founded in the 1960s in the famous Texas Panhandle with the ambition to promote the production and use of pesticide-free grains, cereals, and pulses. The mission was to bring the most wholesome food attainable to the mainstream markets. Since then, Arrowhead Mills has increased its range of products, most of which are certified organic. You can be sure that Arrowhead Mills know a thing or two about good eats. This month, we're featuring Arrowhead Mills green and red organic lentils. Lindo's, why go anyplace else?
My inspiration to write this book has to do with empowering. I want people to understand what it looks like when you are in a position when you don't have the tools around you. If you know me or don't know me, the beautiful game of football, soccer, is and always was a way out. Still fearful on what to do, what would happen if I say something.
What can we do in this book to incorporate tools to help specifically our group of young people in Bermuda?
Could you imagine doing a read with little people and breaking everything down for them and having them to have a voice and having conversation pieces, if it's chapter by chapter?
Welcome back. We are joined by Coach Kita, part of the women's national team coaching team. Good evening, Coach Kita. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Not bad at all. Not bad at all. So, come next month, the national team is scheduled to play in Jamaica against Jamaica, and then we're scheduled to play in Bermuda against Cayman Islands. How over the Christmas break? I know you guys had a lot of the overseas players back on island, a chance to mix them in and mingle with them. How did that training camp as such go?
Actually, it was a really good camp. We did get to see a few players that we needed to see. We got to see players that we haven't seen since our last World Cup qualifier, which happened to be in Jamaica in 2018. So, we got to see players. We played 2 matches. We played against a team that was superior to us, and then we played against another team. So we played against another team that we kind of were able to dominate in our under 17 women. So, it was very good for us because, now having received footage from a very good source, the coaches have been able to spend the past few days watching it and breaking down, the Jamaica team, as well as the opponents, which was Costa Rica. And so it puts us in a position of being able to select a team that's, going to be up to the task, definitely based off of this. I can be honest with you, before this video, I had a totally different team in mind. But since which, we've all watched the video, and, we're very, very close to being on the same page. So the good thing was that those players that haven't been with us over the past few months, coming back for that training camp week, we got to see enough. to make an informed decision and to make the best selection for the team moving forward, as well as to pick a starting team for the Jamaica match.
Mm. Well, good evening, Mr. Braun. How are you?
Good evening. I'm good.
Coach Kitty, you ain't gonna worry about Mr. Braun slamming you tonight. So.
yeah. He said it to my face tonight.
Well, we just yeah.
I was just gonna say, you support St. David's, and I back you. Pretty soon, you should be supporting Liverpool.
That's a lot. No, sir. Not a chance.
But Coach Vance, we were just talking with Coach Kita about having those overseas players back and mingling with the local players in preparation for the upcoming World Cup qualifiers. But what were some of the things you and the other coaches were really looking forward to over this camp that can actually propel you into these games coming up in February?
Mainly to have a look at the players that we haven't seen for a while, to make sure that they're still the player that they were when they left, and basically just to get them together. They probably won't get together until maybe the week of the game. So at least this gives us a bit of time to just get them together and work with them.
Jay?
Guys, welcome. I'm listening to you guys, and I'm going to piggyback off the conversation you were just having just now, because I think we're in a very unique era of football, especially with the national programs with our men and the women's, because most of our athletes now are applying their trade overseas, whether it's in school or whether it's professional, semi-professional. And for a lot of, for many years I knew growing up, a lot of our players for the national squad were based here on the island. So I know it deems a lot of challenges for you to have these camps in, to try to get a look at some of these slots. But how do you keep motivating the local base also? Because obviously they're seeing the players coming back, and we hear that even on the men's side, where professional players are away, they might not be playing as much, but then how do the local guys get a look in? For you guys, team, how do you manage that? Because that's got to be something that's even for the local contingency. How do you keep them motivated?
Yeah, that's been a tough job. I can't lie. The good thing that's happened is that we are now going to be entering into other tournaments. Before we play 4 years. Every 4 years we'll have a senior women's team match. What we've done, in the past, and we've said it on the show before, is that we started entering these younger players into older tournaments. So a lot of the local players have played already, have played in tournaments, played USA, played against Jamaica, played against Haiti, played against Canada. So the motivation for them now is knowing that we are now not just preparing to play Jamaica in 4 weeks. We are preparing to play in Nations League. We are preparing to play in the Gold Cup. And, when we were first told in 2023 this was happening, 2023 is next year, so it's not that far away. Over the next 3 months, these same players are going to have multiple games. So right now, getting matches is the motivation, because before we didn't have matches. We still want more. We definitely want more matches. As I was inside just now watching the Jamaica-Costa Rica match, hearing the coaches talk about the teams that the Jamaicans and the Costa Ricans play for, and I'm just like, I can't wait to be the coach of that team that has the girls playing for Chelsea, has the girls playing in the U.S. professional league, and we're getting there, right? Some of our girls are playing semi-pro in the UK. But the joy of that coach having to just pull his players together for a friendly and having the quality and the talent in the team to play that friendly and just have to manage. We've had these girls for so long, Vance, Aaron, and myself. So we're all looking forward to the day where we just have to manage this group, because we're pulling them from all over the world because they're playing football every day of the week. So our local girls are also younger, some of them. So the motivation is to see themselves in college, to see themselves playing on the semi-pro or the professional level. And we just ask them to just put in the work, because we're willing to work. Coach Vance and Coach Jenkins and myself, every day, communicating, watching footage, questioning each other, bouncing ideas off each other. So it's a lot of work, as well as being a mother, a wife, a teacher. It's a lot. But we actually, this mini camp saw a lot of the work that we have been doing over the past few years actually coming to fruition. It's a beautiful thing. Are we world beaters? Not by a long shot, but I'll tell you what, we have grown, and the motivation for those players, I believe, is us three coaches standing by them all this time.
Following the camp, what would you say would be the priorities that you have to work on over the next month to ensure that whatever is the weakest thing is better leading up to the game?
You can't tell everybody that, Earl.
Yes, you can.
No. That's easy. That's easy. You ever seen Jamaica play? Fast. Strong.
Yes.
They head the ball. They play diagonal balls. And these are things that we are now able to do. We played against Warwick Archers, and Richard Toll was very impressed by our ability to handle crosses, because it's not something that we're not a heading country. Right. We have a style of play in Bermuda, and heading isn't part of that. But now we understand that. Our girls understand that. Like, Bonnie Shaw is probably one of the best headers in the game. She's a center forward for Jamaica. We have to be able to do better there. So after, from the camp, we stepped up our fitness. We now do body pump on Saturdays. We have the great Anthony Francis, who has the girls on Sundays, and he has no mercy. Those girls did body pump Saturday, and Sunday they showed up. He didn't credit they did 1,000 squats. They did more squats on Sunday. And, maybe they complained, but it was really good to see them in training yesterday. They were a little flat, which I understand why they were a little flat. We still wanted more from them. But it's the benefit of the fitness stuff that they've been doing, that they've been able to go to a body pump Saturday, fitness with Francis on Sunday, and then still show up and be able to scrimmage on Tuesday in training. Those are the things that we hadn't seen in the past. So from the camp, we see that we know we need to work on our strength and our conditioning, but we also see where the work on strength and conditioning that we've been doing is working. Vance might have something else on that note.
No, for me, it's you said it, the fitness part, all of that titles into what I believe the fitness is going to play a big part in both games, not only against Jamaica, but against Cayman as well. And I saw, I'm seeing the benefits of the programs that Coach just talked about, with the young ladies, as well as they're playing. Some of the local players are playing in boys leagues here, so they're getting some game time, which is helping as well with their strength and their awareness. So, yeah, if I could pick one thing, it would be that they're going to be better. They're going to be fitter.
All right. We're going to take a commercial break. When we come back, we'll have more of the coaches for the women's national team. We'll be right back.
Amy's Kitchen is an independent organic food company, a family business who've been producing wholesome and flavorful foods over 30 years. From their first pot pie right up to 1 million meals a day, and firmly believe in the importance of TLC throughout the entire process. This month we're featuring a range of Amy's organic beans, refried and baked, chilies, medium, spicy and beyond, and a multitude of organic soups, minestrone, chunky tomato bisque, cream of mushroom, hearty Thai coconut, and much more. Lindo's, why go anyplace else?
My inspiration to write this book has to do with empowering. I want people to understand what it looks like when you are in a position when you don't have the tools around you. If you know me or don't know me, the game, the beautiful game of football, soccer, is and always was a way out. Still fearful on what to do, what would happen if I say something.
What can we do in this book to incorporate tools to help specifically our group of young people in Bermuda.
Could you imagine doing a read with little people and breaking everything down for them and having them to have a voice and having conversation pieces, if it's chapter by chapter?
Welcome back. Well, coaches, you said you've had an opportunity now to see a bit of Jamaica. What do you see? I mean, we know what their strengths are. We've played against them at all sorts of levels in the women's game. But what have you kind of dialed down to see of how they do things in preparation for games?
Coach Dankins, I don't know if he's backstage. He said he's trying to get in. I don't know if you can see him backstage. He just finished training, so he's trying to get in.
It's not there yet.
Okay, no problem. So how you mean how they are preparing?
So obviously they have to prepare for these type of scenarios in as you do, prepare for different scenarios in games and how you want to play and how. So how do you think they kind of prepare themselves when they're playing? I mean, you've seen them play USA, you've seen them play the Mexicans, you've seen them play, all these other teams. So how do you think they're preparing for a team like Bermuda?
I hope not much. I actually hope they're overconfident. I hope that a few of the pros say, you know what, we don't need to go home for this one. Well, majority of them, if not all of them, are playing in a pro team somewhere. So obviously their gym routines are in place. It's now a matter of the coach being able to, and we played them before. Those girls have been together for a long time. We played the majority of them at under 20s. I'm sure they were part of that under 17 team as well. So they know each other as we know each other, but they just have a bit more of an opportunity. Just here in October, they played that match against Costa Rica. Some of our senior players, some of our players that will be traveling with this team haven't played a match since 2018, besides a practice match in the summer. So for me, I'm sure Jamaica are doing everything that they have to do on an individual level. And when the coach gets them together, then it's now just putting all the pieces together and getting them to play. So, before Jamaica was pretty erratic. Now they're so structured, which I like because they kind of robotically do things. So it helps us to prepare our players to actually be able to play, to their style and to adapt to the way that they're actually trying to play. As I watched the first half of the match, they played a lot on the right side. I said, okay, I got to make sure that my left side's nice and strong. And I watched the second half, they're playing on the left side. I got to make sure everybody's nice and strong, right? And then they try to play through the middle, playing out of the back, they drop in. So I know that the coach has had, his blackboard sessions and has told them or showed them how he wants to play. And that's all I can think of. They're not in Jamaica spending a lot of time together. They're just bringing their individual talents, and the coach is just putting together the puzzle. That's it.
Yeah, Vance, let me ask you about the second match. I know we all want to concentrate on the first one, but we play Cayman a few days later. What do we remember about Cayman and how we can break them down?
Well, just 2 years ago, or is it 2 years ago? No, longer than that. A couple of years ago, when we played them in the under 15 girls, and they were, they had a few English players, and they were very physical. But when it came to the technical part of the game, we were a bit higher than they were. And some of our players that played in the under 15 will play in the national team. So I'm hoping that is the same thing for them. Because all the research that I've done, I haven't found a game on Cayman yet. Just yesterday, I got accepted on Jamaica Facebook page, so I'm scouting them, seeing what they're doing. But yeah, so we're hoping that, We have a good result against Jamaica and an even better result against Cayman, who's probably not as sharp as Jamaica.
Right. I see Coach
Vance, I'm gonna check on my source. See if I can get some footage on Cayman. See if my source can come up there.
I don't want to put no pressure on you.
Yeah, my source slipped something in my DMs. So I'm gonna see my source. My source might be listening to this interview. They might be able to drop something on me that could be beneficial for us.
Okay, it sounds good.
Jay?
Guys, I just want to talk a little bit of. I always try to beat the drum for getting support for not just all sports, but especially our national sports. During these COVID times, money seems to be tight when it comes to especially our national sports. We've seen the challenges we've seen for our men's team, but let's go for a wish list of you coaches, because obviously you go to these tournaments and you see these teams probably might have a contingency of probably 20-odd players, but another 20-odd backroom staff. I mean, I hear you guys. The great thing about you, the three coaches you have here, the consistency that you've had over the years. So, a lot of other teams probably envy you guys because the coaches are coming in and out. But what would be a wish list? Because when we go into these tournaments, Vance, and I've heard both of you talk about the physical part of it, with our team not being able to play as many games leading or being together as much, recovery. I'm always thinking about recovery. We might have burned ourselves out off this first game, and then we're trying to our players recover. We want them to react the same, but the recovery. So, what we need more massage, therapists. I mean, what are some of the things would be a wish list that we could probably improve on going forward?
Yeah, definitely staffing. But we are the association has increased our numbers in staff. So it's not falling heavily on just us, the three coaches, right? We have more backroom staff, but the technical director is now traveling with the women. We have equipment managers, we have a regular manager. Now with the new guidelines, COVID compliance officer, physio, team doctors at times travel as well. So, obviously we would love to have, for us, we already have a videographer now. Now it'd be nice to just have. When we went to Nicaragua, USA she just sat on her laptop the entire time and just broke the game down in different little pieces. The coaches gave her a few ideas of what they wanted, but just sat there and just broke it all down bit by bit. And then the coaches just had to review it and was able to make the changes. So, that would be a wish list for us, someone sitting there and we'll get there. That's just watching the game, maybe on the iPad, as I'm sure you've seen. And then be able to halftime, we'll be able to fix things right away. So yeah, you're right, just the increase in staff. But our biggest wish list, and I can speak for all the coaches, it is for us not to just have practice matches to prepare for tournaments, but we also want to improve our FIFA ranking and our CONCACAF rankings. And so we don't really get enough matches to do that. So it happens in tournaments. Like, we have to do well in these tournaments in order to improve our rankings. So, getting games, playing against tough opposition. We are definitely envious. We're envious of the countries that are getting international friendly. So that's something I do know. I will say that Mark Reid, the president, Maurice Lowe, the technical director, there's conversations that we have had, and they have been trying. But again, it's with COVID, and with Bermuda up and down numbers wise, not many people are looking to travel here, and then us even traveling out there. So that is especially my wish list is for us to be able to just play more international friendlies and to play at home. These girls deserve to play at home. They're working so hard. and it can be a bit demoralizing, deflating, working so hard, and then you go play Jamaica and say, for instance, the result isn't what it is. And it's like, some of them, like I said, have been working since 2018 to play in this next match. So that would be my wish list. Coach Van?
Yeah, no, nothing too far off what you were speaking about. My biggest wish right now would be that someone from the government is listening, the health department, and in April when we're due to play, is we play in Bermuda, Grenada in Bermuda,
Grenada.
that the borders are a little open and we're able to play at home when we have to play Grenada. That's my
April is
biggest
Ron.
wish.
That's Ron CLGP time. You be straight.
Yes, of
Okay,
course.
sounds good.
Yes, of course.
I want this recording now.
You be straight, mate. We can fill up the stadium.
Oh, my dear. Sounds good.
Trust me.
Sounds good.
Well, we know that you guys are going to be working hard to prepare the ladies, as well as Coach Jenkins, in preparation for the World Cup qualifiers. And we want to wish you all the best. We'll stay in touch, obviously. And when can we see the final list of the team selected? I know we're still just about a month away from that, but will it be before you guys board, after you board, when you arrive?
Our team selected.
Our team is selected.
Our team selected. Tickets are being bought this week. Jobs and colleges and schools will get letters this week. It could be as early as next week.
Okay.
And we're very confident and comfortable with the team that we have selected. I mean, I've said it before, but I have never been this happy or excited all around with the staff, with the support from the BFA, with the players that we have, with the work that's being put in, with the excitement. Aaliyah Nolan hit me up the other day and she was like, Coach, I am so excited about what's to happen. She's like, this is the first team I played in. I have been this excited. And Bermuda doesn't get to see these girls enough, right? Maybe we should have some more practice matches against some boys teams or something, and invite people to come and look over the fence. But this is what we've been working for over the past 7 years. And I'm not, as I said, I'm not here to say that we're gonna go there and we're gonna just light the world up. But the growth that these players have been through over the past few years, and there's still a lot of growing to do. We're gonna make Bermuda proud. We're gonna make Bermuda proud.
Good. Well, again, I want to thank you very much for your time. We're going to take another commercial break. When we come back, we'll wrap up this edition of the Island Stat Sports Show. Enjoy your night, guys. Thanks.
Thank you. Good night.
Right, Jake.
John Barrett & Son, home of Bermuda's best beverages, is starting the new year with an exciting new beverage, Numa, the organic sport hydration drink. Founded by brothers Brandon and Jared, both pro hockey players, Numa stands for No More Artificials and is an organic plant-based sports drink with real ingredients like organic coconut water and Himalayan pink salt. Numa partnered with fitness groups in the USA early in their development and expertly responded to the call for purity and simplicity. Try all flavors of Numa organic sports drink this month. Lindo's, why go anyplace else?
My inspiration to write this book has to do with empowering. I want people to understand what it looks like when you are in a position when you don't have the tools around you. If you know me or don't know me, the game, the beautiful game of football, soccer, is and always was a way out. Still fearful on what to do, what would happen if I say something.
What can we do in this book to incorporate tools to help specifically our group of young people in Bermuda?
Could you imagine doing a read with little people and breaking everything down for them and having them to have a voice and having conversation pieces, if it's chapter by chapter?
And welcome back. Well, Jay, very interesting talk with the president of Kennock, Mr. Brian Lewis, who shared quite a few interesting thoughts.
Yeah, most definitely. Interesting to see what's going to come out of the next game, especially, like I said, down in Guadalupe. But I think what I am listening to especially from Mr. Lewis, President Lewis, is that they're listening. You know, the presidents are listening. They're listening and they're taking heed. You know, I think athletes has been speaking for a while, and I think it's always seemed to feel like it's a big divide between the administration and athletes, or what's needed to improve on games, or what they might need as far as so they improve themselves. And it sounds to me that just coming from him, you can hear that he's listening, he's taking note, he's learning. You know, and a lot of these administrators, some of them are even former athletes, so they're thinking in the mindset of what they did or what they went through many years ago. But like he mentioned, you know, you can't be trying to set a vision in 2021 or 2022 when you have a 1948 mindset. It just doesn't work like that. So interesting enough, I'm hoping, you know, his settlements, you know, range across the Caribbean as far as, you know, presidents, Olympic presidents, and the committees alike.
Okay. And then obviously we want to again wish the women's national team well.
Wow. Before we get out of here, right? The last thing that my man Brown said, and this is where I love it, because we saw in today's media, the opposition Shadow Minister of Health, Michael Dunkley, is calling for the end of travel authorizations, the end of safety, these restrictions that we've been put under for quite a while now, and I'm glad somebody's starting to speak up or challenge what's going on. Obviously, you've been challenging for years, but it doesn't seem like nobody listens to you. But it'll be interesting now, because I think you're getting that we mentioned before. You know, you're getting people just trying to figure out, and I'm pretty sure, Earl, it's got to be a hard balance of all the pros and cons when you look at these type of situations. But if we're looking at pros for these sporting events, we're looking at pros. We've seen how we've brought people together. We have seen with our national pride. We're always talking about national pride. We've seen how our national team brings us that when they perform. It's a detriment when we're having these, and probably, like I said, in a renaissance with our national teams, as good as they're doing it in all these events around the world, that we're not actually enjoying it home.
Yeah. You mentioned that. Well, what would be interesting, Jay, if the shoe was on the other foot, if he was in Parliament, if the OBA was the government, and hold on, let me finish. What would the PLP be saying?
Well,
that is the interesting note.
If you ask me, Earl, you know, and I'll tell you straight up, all this is a lot of it is politics.
Oh yeah,
because this is something that the people have not been seeing. You can go to certain sectors and you can hear it all the time, right? So why now?
Yeah.
You know, is it because of
is the year we're supposed to have an election?
Well, no,
not sure.
No. Remember, it was last year. Year before, we just had it.
Year before. 2019, right?
Yeah, so we got time. It's time.
Okay. The battery should be going on my watch by then.
Yeah. But like I said, it's gonna be interesting to see because like you mentioned, Earl, we sort of compensate, or we compromise, I want to say. When these international events come, we've seen it happen time after time after time after time. So
people may watch it.
So it'll be interesting. And we talked about, I mean, it's harder to. We hear Coach Kidd won the friendly games, but we know it's hard getting to Bermuda as it is. But we know these restrictions. We see that across the board now with tourism.
Yeah.
So it's not just for sports. I'm just saying in general. So it'd be interesting by that time where we have moved in the political landscape when it comes to these restrictions.
Yeah, definitely. Well, go have a good night, man.
Hey, welcome back, buddy.
I've been back. Thank you. Well, folks, enjoy the rest of your evening. The match has started out at BAA, no score as of yet between PHC and Norfolk. So with that, we say good night.